Hello friends, it's Cindy Brumbaugh from CindyLeeBDesigns.com, independent Stampin' Up demonstrator. Today I have a fun fold for you. It's called a double pocket fun fold. It uses designer series paper, and there's a couple different variations that you can do with this, and this is just one where I only made it a single pocket because I just didn't want the busyness of the two, but we're going to make one on video that's going to be different. As you can see, I used the beautiful prized peony bundle that has these beautiful floral images along with dies to cut them out, and it also has that die that cuts out pieces of cardstock and you can build together a 3D peony. I'll link that card that I made using that on my blog. And as always, I always have the measurements underneath the YouTube description, so you don't have to be scribbling them down. And you can always go back and start and stop the video while you're making this card, which I had to do when I watched a couple tutorials. So let's get started here. As you can see, these colors, it's the gray granite and the petal pink, and you can find those in the Peony Garden designer series paper. Now this one, I liked that this piece of paper had the two different patterns on it. So I picked another pattern in this designer series paper. I'm going to put all my little goodies over here for now because I did a whole bunch of different ones so I can decide once I put it together. So what you're going to do is start out with your 12 by 12 piece of designer series paper, and you want to cut it down to 8.5 by 11. So we're just going to pull out our extended arm on our trimmer, and we're going to go to 8.5. And since this pattern is non-directional, I got it this time, on both sides it isn't going to really matter which way we do it. So we're going to go to 8.5, 8.5. So we're going to cut off this portion here, and then we're going to turn it and go to 11. Leaving ourselves a 1-inch piece left over that's 8.5, and we're going to be using that on the card. So here we go. While we have our trimmer out, now you're looking at this thinking to yourself, 8.5 by 11, that's the same size as our cardstock. That means you can do this exact technique, the double pocket card, with cardstock as well. But it's nice doing it with designer series paper because it's thinner and it's not as bulky. So here we go. We're going to cut it. We're not cutting it yet. We are scoring it in half both ways. So half on the 8.5-inch side is 4.25. So we're going to score. So we're going to be using this lighter gray, and we're going to score at 4.25. Then we're going to turn the 11-inch side up to the top and butt it up against the top of our trimmer, and we're going to go to 5.5, which is our half of 11. So we're scoring once again. Now, the next thing you're going to do is you're going to be cutting in on the left side score line at 5.5. Now I did find when I first made this with designer series paper that I just turned this and I thought, oh, I'm just going to go and cut it. But I did find, because I'd already scored this and I broke up the fibers on my designer series paper, that when I pushed the blade on it, I got a little frayed. So I just thought I'm going to either, when I make this card again, I'll either score at 4.25 and then I'll score up to the half, up to the 4.25 here, and then I will just cut it before I score that. But since I wanted to show you how easy it is just to do those two scores right in half, we are just going to make sure that you're all on camera here. We're just going to go ahead and cut that. So I'm just going to get my bigger shears, and there's the line right here. So as you're looking at it, it's the score line that's at 5.5 on the 11-inch side on your left. And we're going to just cut up on that score line. Right on that score line. And I'll have a little diagram on my blog too, hopefully showing how to do that. So now I've cut this here, and we have these 4 sections. Now I found that the section that I want to see on the outside of my card, let me see, this is my little sample here. I think I did. Yeah, so I wanted to see, okay, so put the piece down that you want, the put the side that you want to see, but we can always change this around to, oh, I guess I already did this here. Okay, that's the way we would do it here. Okay, so we have these 4 sections, and if we fold it the opposite way, we'll figure out which side we like better. So what you're going to do is you're going to take your bottom right corner, and you're going to take that corner and you're going to go over to that middle score line, right before the score line, and then you're going to use your bone folder and get a nice crease there. Okay, and what we're going to do here is we're going to measure over 3 inches and 3 inches, and we're going to fold that over. So I'm just going to take, oh, my pencil, I forgot my pencil is what's the word I'm looking for? It's broke the point on it. So I'm just going to, since I don't have my measuring here, I'm just going to pull out my trusty ruler here, and I'm going to go make a mark, just a little mark there at 3 inches. And of course you should be using a pencil, but I'm going to make a very small line. So I have 2 lines there, 3 inches, 3 inches. And then I'm going to bring back my trimmer, and I'm going to connect those 2 marks that I made at 3 inches on the top left. See, I'm putting them right in the groove of the trimmer, and I'm going to use my scoring blade. That's why I always put my finger here, just in case I accidentally pull down my cutting blade. And we're just going to score right there. Move my trimmer over, being careful not to drop it as I did and broke it. So what we're going to do is fold this over on the score line here. So as you can see now, we have this rectangle here, the top quadrant here, and we took this triangle here, made a right triangle. We measured in 3 and down 3, made a score line connecting them. And then down here, we just took that bottom right corner and folded it up to the score line. Now we have these sections. Now what we're going to do is, I'm going to show you a couple different variations here, and then you'll be able to tell kind of what I did with this card. So normally you're going to just fold over the top left, fold it over, and then you can fold up the bottom. As you can see, we're making 2 pockets here, and then you fold it over. Now if you do not want to have, now notice I'm just kind of taking out that little bit of the mark that my trimmer made. You have 2 pockets here. Now if you don't like that they're both the same, which here I had both of them the same, so I broke it up with a piece here, and that's what we can do on this card. But you can also play around with folding. Now let's go back and do this. Okay, we're back here. You could fold this back on the bottom, and you can still fold this over, and then you have some contrasting color here. So that gives you some contrasting. So whichever way you see, you still have 2 pockets here. Okay, and then you have this inside here. A lot of people adhere these together, and they just make this the card with the 2 pockets going in here. But I'm going to show you what I just did not want to waste this beautiful paper here and adhere them together. So what I did on my card, let's go back to our original design here. Okay, so we have the original design here where we folded up to the score line on the bottom right, and then we just scored down 3 over 3, made our triangle. Now this is the first fold you do, okay, and then you fold up here, and then you're going to fold it around this way. And like I said, a lot of people just leave it adhered there, but I did not want to waste this. So what we're going to do to break up that this is 2 different folds, I took this piece that was left over and I just put it right. Sometimes the when you're using your trimmer, you get at that little bit of a bend in your paper, so I like to just take my bone folder and make it flat. I just put this right along that edge so it broke it up where the folds are, where the pockets are. So we're going to be putting that on there, but we're going to need to adhere this together to have our pocket here and our pocket here, and I want to be able to see the inside. Now this is where I went ahead and cut 2 different panels here. I wasn't sure if I wanted to do gray and white, or I wanted to do the petal pink and white. And I guess, okay, Archie's deciding to announce that my husband is coming in the back door. Oh, the thrills of having a stamping center that is an open loft now. So the petal pink and the petal pink, I think, are a little bit blending into each other. So what I'm going to do is use the gray granite as the inside there. So I'm going to go ahead and use some of my Stampin' Seal, and I'm going to put that on my, okay, cooperate with me here. I'm going to put that on that back part of my designer series paper just to give it some stability as I'm putting everything else together. So let's just put that right so that it's got an equal border the whole way around. We've got our gray granite. We're going to be stamping on here, but I am feeling lucky today, and I'm thinking if I go ahead and put this in here when we do our stamping, okay, when we do our stamping, that we're going to be fine. Oh, let me get that off of there. So we're going to put our Whisper White, and the measurements for the gray granite was 4 by 5 1/4, which would make our white 3 3/4 by 5. And let's get that little piece of adhesive off there. So now we have this back part, and it's given stability to your card, and that's where you can write your message as well. And so what we need to think about here, though, is not adhering everything together, because you need to keep the pockets open. So what we're going to do is put adhesive, just a little tiny bead of glue here, and that's essentially, and a little bit right here. So just a little bit on this portion here, so this goes together and this pocket goes together, and then that way it keeps everything else together. There we go. Okay, so let's get some glue. Okay, which one of my glue is going to decide to work today? Let me get a little piece of scratch here. Well, it's not this glue. Let's try this one here. Of course, let's just get a piece of scratch paper here. I'm just going to get a little bead of glue right here. And like I said, just a tiny scotch of glue there, because we still want to have a nice open pocket there. So that's one. And then the other one is right here on this edge. I tried this with my tear and tape, and then I tried one with my Stampin' Seal, and it was just a little bit too thick of width. And this way, we just have that pocket made there. Now, to keep this part from opening, we need to put just a tiny bit of glue right in this section here. And as you're putting this card together, you'll start to like play around with it and know exactly where you're supposed to be putting your adhesive. Okay, so now we have our pocket here and a pocket here, and it's closed on this side, and then we have the place to write our message here. So what we're going to do here, hey Sarah, can you shut your door? Hey, let me just shut, my daughter's staying with us while her husband's away on a business trip, and there we go. So there we go. You guys are going to be having a lot of this happening whenever you're watching my videos from now on. Hey, but that's the way life is, right? Okay, so we put together all the places where the card seems to be flopping about. Okay, so now I wanted to break up these two pockets here. So what I did is I put a piece of this that got cut off, and look how that delineates where the pockets are. So what you're just going to do is put some glue here right along that edge. And actually you can put a little bit further down because we know it's 1 inch there. So we're going to put this right along there. And then that made a really nice break in the designer paper there. And then we're just going to get our paper snips. There we go. And we're just gonna snip off that little piece that's on those sides. Snip off that piece right there. And then snip off this edge here. And then you have a little bit of an overhang on that side. Okay, so now we've created a pocket here and a pocket there, and we still have the whole entire card on the inside to decorate. So let's go ahead and do that while I have it open, and then we'll know it's there. So we're gonna use the petal pink, and we're going to use the peony, and just get some petal pink peony, and we're gonna put it right there on the inside. How pretty is that? So that's our inside. And then we have our pockets to play with. Now, when I made this card, I wanted to actually do a little more decorating here. So look how cute this die is in the peony bundle. I never even noticed this. This little die creates this border. So I literally put this on a scrap of 1/2 inch paper that I had, cut out that really pretty scallop, and then I'm just gonna pop that right behind this top one here. So what I'm gonna do is put a little bit of glue on this edge, just right on that little scotchy edge there. And then we're just gonna pop that right underneath the corner of, just lining up those little curly cues. And then we're just adding a lot more dimension and eye appeal. And then once again, flip our card over. We'll just open it up. Actually, I'm gonna look at it this way. I can see it a little better here. Actually, let's see if I can get those scallops. Yeah, they are in a perfect place. Okay, so I'm gonna cut right along the designer paper. There we go. Look how pretty that's looking. And then we're gonna cut right up along this designer series paper. It was funny, I said to Sarah when I was starting the video, she said, Archie and Lucy, get in here with Mommy. And I said, oh no, they're used to being here and they're really good. And then it ends up that Sarah's the one talking loud. Oh gosh, that's so funny. Oh, and I just saw that this needs cut off a little bit. Okay, so now a lot of the cards that you see online with the double pocket, they're putting two pockets in there, okay? They put one here and they put them this way, and I kind of thought I just liked them on the angle, okay? So I also wasn't sure that, I just kind of like the one pocket on it, you know, but there is another pocket, so if you want to put like a gift card or something like that in there, you can pop that in that pocket there. So what I did with this pocket is I measured this one to fit, and I keep getting adhesive on here. I thought I got it off last night when I made this card. I'm shaking the table. So what I did on this card is I put it this way. That way, if you did use tear and tape, which I think I did on this card, if I hit it, it still fit in there. And I think the angle of it looks a little cuter. So what I did is I started out with a piece of, I have it written right here. The tag was 4.5 by 2 inches because we're going to put it in the fancy tag. And this is the fancy tag punch. I usually just write it on the back of my punches so I know what they are. And it has a 2-inch opening, and you just pop it in there, but always look behind to make sure that your tag is butt up against the metal. And then we're just going to pop that off. And now we have this cute little tag. And then the white portion of the tag is 3.5 by 1 3/4, and we just pop it on there. And the way I did this one is I just put the peony, so it was peeking out here at the top, and I think that the petal pink is the best one to do. I did do one in gray as well. I wish that you guys could tell me, do you like the gray or the petal pink? The petal pink. I like the petal pink. So what we're going to do is put another one of those peonies right at the top, and I'm going to do that off. Let me see here. I need a piece of scratch here so I don't get it on my thing. So we're going to put it right there at the top of our tag so that you can see it peeking out. Okay, so you have that peeking out there. And then I just put on kind of a more of a generic type saying, this is a great stamp set for sympathy, because there's a sentiment in it that has "so sorry for your loss, my thoughts are with you." And so I really liked, oh, and you know what else I did on this one, because I'm glad I ended up doing that. I noticed when I have a stamp that has very small font on it, I like to use my Stampin' Spots, because they're felt and they work a little better with a fine print. So I'm going to put that right on the bottom of this tag, and there we go. So we're finishing off that tag, and then we're just going to put that onto the petal pink tag we made. So, and we don't have to worry about how much adhesive we put on it, because we won't be writing on that part. So then we're just going to pop it onto our tag, and there we go. And then this tag fits nicely on an angle into our card. Now, if you did want to put 2 tags in there, the other size you could use, now I had it, okay, now it's lost. Okay, you would just make this a 1/2 inch bigger. So you make your other tag, where did it go? Well, oh, there it is. Okay, so you'd make your tag another 1/2 inch bigger. So you see how this one fits in here and this one fits in here. Okay, so you could do 2 tags, but I just think the 2 tags are kind of a little too bulky. And then what I did on this card is I used a little bit of this petal pink ribbon, and I do believe this is a retired ribbon that we had in our last catalog. But all of my items in my stamp room work for me long after they're retired. So I just put a cute little quickly cut bow there, and then I just went right along the design of the ribbon and cut a little straight. There we go. And then we pop it right into the card there. And then I just did a simple stamping of the peony here and die cut it, and also did a couple leaves. And then I was going to decide, do I want to do petal pink or do I want to do gray granite? And I think that's an easy choice. We're going to do the gray granite, and then put the peony on there, and then put the leaf. Well, there were leaves, but now there just happens to be, oh, there are 2. There we go. So we're just going to put, I did raise this up with dimensionals, and they are also right in front of me. Ha! Always love opening up a new package of dimensionals. There we go. Fresh dimensionals. So we're going to put 4 of them on the back of this stitched circle, and this is the next to the largest stitched circle. And I did gray granite, as I said, and we're going to put that right in the bottom left corner there. And then we're going to put our peony, and we're going to put our peony along the top here, and we're going to put that peony right there on the gray granite circle. Isn't it beautiful how that stitch circle can add so much to your card? literally so much to your card. And you don't even need to do a border. Okay, so get some glue on here and put our gray granite leaf right underneath the peony, and put another leaf tucked in there. And those all come in that die set. It's awesome. There we go. And then we have this beautiful peony, and you could add another sentiment in here. And here, with this type of the card, you get to see, and then you may find where you see that you have some open areas, but that's okay because it's glued, because we adhered it up there. So we've got our little tag in there. And actually, looking at this, this probably could have been done with our gray granite, because it would have had a nice backdrop against the petal pink. So you can experiment and see what works best for you with whatever designer paper that you're doing. And so there we go. We needed a couple little embellishments on there just to finish it off. And of course, I used the beautiful elegant faceted gems, and those came in the peony suite. And so we're just going to pull some of those out, get my paper piercer, and pop in a nice pretty, well, let's start up here. Let's do a little petal pink one down here. Let's do it on the gray granite section, and then we'll put one up here. And let's just go ahead and put a whitish one and a big petal pink one. So there we go. We've got some bling on there with those elegant faceted gems. Oh, they're so pretty. So we've got some bling on there. We've got a beautiful image that kind of repeats itself and then goes in here, and you have the opening there. So a lot of different ways that you can fold this card. So just play around with it. You're just going to take your 8.5 by 11, score it at 4 1/4, score it at 5 1/2, and now you have 4 equal quadrants. You're going to cut in on the one quadrant so that your 2 pieces on your upper and lower left are cut in half, and then you just pop the card back together. So if you need to, just go back and rewatch the video so that you can see the different ways to fold it. But it's a really cool card, and like I said, I liked being able to open it up, but a lot of the videos you'll see will have this adhered to the back. And so you do have a beautiful back on that, but then you just have the 2 pockets, and you could have left this blank and wrote a message on here, or stuck a tag in here and wrote your message on there for somebody, or put a gift card in there, or a little treat. So if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to go to my blog, cindyleebdesigns.com. You can see additional photos that are there, showing some of the different steps that I've done with this card, showing all the supplies, all the measurements. You can also get to that link by the Visit My Blog right underneath the YouTube video in the description. You'll see Visit My Blog here. Just press that link. You're sent over to cindyleebdesigns.com, and you'll have additional information that you need. If you have any questions or want to send me a picture of a card that you've made, please feel free to give me a text at 724-323-2296. Or if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to ask. Thanks for buzzing by, friends.